Marcus Kozlov had eaten lunch alone at Table 7 of the Nexus station cantina for 3 years, 4 months, and 16 days. Not that he was counting. The grease-stained mechanic preferred it that way. Between bites of synthetic protein and recycled vegetables, he could review ship schematics on his datapad without interruption. No small talk about plasma conduit efficiency ratings. No awkward silences with species whose vocal cords operated in frequencies that made his teeth ache. So when the figure approached his table on that unremarkable Tuesday, Marcus didn't look up from his diagrams of a Centauri freighter's failing hyperdrive. "Mind if I sit?" Marcus glanced up, expecting to see another human. Probably a lost tourist asking for directions to the entertainment district. Instead, he found himself staring at a Zephyrian war veteran. The alien's silver carapace bore the distinctive scarring of plasma burns, and his forearms moved with the careful precision of someone who'd learned to compensate for old injuries. Sure, Marcus said, gesturing to the empty chair. In 3 years on Nexus Station, no alien had ever asked to join him for lunch. The Zephyrian settled his considerable bulk onto the reinforced chair with a soft sigh. "Commander Vel'tar," he introduced himself, extending one of his upper hands in the human gesture of greeting. "Retired." Marcus, still employed. He shook the offered hand, noting the careful restraint in the alien's grip. Zephyrians could crush human bones without effort. They ate in comfortable silence for several minutes. Vel'tar had ordered the methane-based protein substitute that most oxygen breathers found nauseating, while Marcus worked his way through his usual meal. Finally, curiosity got the better of him. "So, why here?" Not exactly the most social table in the cantina. Vel'tar's compound eyes shifted toward the bustling crowd at the other tables. Mixed groups of traders, miners, and station personnel from dozens of species, all talking loudly and gesturing animatedly. "I served in the Frontier Wars," Vel'tar said quietly. 15 years fighting the hegemony expansion. "Lost most of my unit in the Battle of Kepler Prime." Marcus nodded, unsure what to say. The Frontier Wars had ended before he was born, but everyone knew the stories. "The thing about war," Vel'tar continued, "is that it teaches you to value quiet. Noise means danger. Silence means survival." He gestured toward Marcus's datapad. "You understand this, I think." Marcus looked down at his schematics, then back at the scarred veteran. "You eat here often?" "Every day for the past month. Always at table 12. Vel'tar indicated a corner table with a clear view of all entrances. A tactician's choice. "I've been watching you." That should have been alarming, but somehow it wasn't. "Watching me?" "You repair ships. I've seen your work. The Altarian merchant vessel that came in with cascade failures in their life support? You had it running in 6 hours. The specs said it would take 3 days. Marcus shrugged. "It's just about understanding the connections. Everything talks to everything else in a ship. You just have to listen." "Yes," Vel'tar said with surprising intensity. "Exactly. Most beings see components, systems, separate parts. You see the whole." They finished their meals in renewed silence, but it felt different now. Companionable rather than solitary. "Same time tomorrow?" Vel'tar asked as he stood to leave. Marcus found himself nodding. "Table 7. It's got the best angle for reviewing technical drawings." The next day, Vel'tar brought his own datapad, military tactical manuals that he read with the same focused intensity Marcus brought to his engineering texts. The day after that, the Zephyrian arrived with a small device that translated his native clicking language into text, allowing him to share observations about ship design from a military perspective. Within a week, their lunch had evolved into something unexpected. Collaboration. Vel'tar's tactical knowledge combined with Marcus's engineering expertise created insights neither could have reached alone. The plasma routing on hegemony cruisers. Vel'tar was explaining, his scarred finger tracing patterns on Marcus's datapad. They prioritize redundancy over efficiency. But here, he indicated a junction point. A single precisely placed disruption could cascade through their entire power grid. Marcus studied the schematic with new eyes. That's brilliant and terrifying. You could disable a dreadnought with the right 20-credit component failure. Only if you understood both the engineering and the tactics, Vel'tar replied. Alone, neither of us would see it. By the end of the month, other beings had begun to notice the odd pair at Table 7. Engineers would drift over to ask Marcus about particularly challenging repairs, only to find themselves drawn into conversations about optimal resource allocation. Military personnel, recognizing Vel'tar's bearing, would stop to pay their respects and leave with new perspectives on equipment maintenance. "We've become a consultation service," Marcus observed one day, watching a young Altarian pilot walk away with solutions to her ship's recurring sensor problems. "We've become friends," Vel'tar corrected gently. Marcus looked at the grizzled veteran. This being from a species humanity had barely made contact with, whose experiences were so different from his own that they might as well have been from different universes. And yet, somehow, they'd found common ground in the simple act of sharing a meal and the deeper pursuit of understanding how things worked. "Yeah," Marcus said, saving his schematics and closing the datapad. "We have." The next day, Table 7 was set for 2,